Okay, let's talk about consent, which is probably something you've never thought about when it comes to a dog, because most people haven't. But dogs have the ability to and should consent to what we're asking them to do. And what I mean by that is they don't necessarily have to love it, right? There are going to be some things that we have to do, like vet visits and vaccines. Oh, thank you, good boy, that are a little uncomfortable but very, very necessary. But what we can do is train for those scenarios. He's trying to go for my pocket. Train for those scenarios, get them as comfortable and confident as we can, and learn about their body language so that we know when they are consenting, good boy, versus when they're not. So, a good example of one way that we can empower him, make him feel more autonomous and confident, is to give him choices. And so choices are usually, I love you so much, thank you for the kisses. You usually want to give choices between two things, no more than that, at least to start, because otherwise, just like humans, he'll be overwhelmed and he'll be a little bit confused about what it is that we're asking. And so I came up with this idea because he has such a good wardrobe already. For such a little puppy, he's got such a stylish wardrobe. And so I grabbed my favorites that I think will be warm enough. I grabbed his sweater and I grabbed his coat. And so I'm going to show you how to ask him to make a choice and then show you what consent looks like as we put it on, okay? And I'm going to put the treats in my pocket because boyfriend is so obsessed with the snacks that if they're in my hands, he's like, whoa, okay? Hey, Hudson, can you sit? No, just sit for a second. Good boy. Wait. Good. Which one? Which one? Now, what we're looking for is some kind of engagement with either option. You notice that he walked away. He went over to his water to sniff. So on the surface, that kind of looks like to me like, not really excited about either one. Let me regroup and recenter myself. And that's okay. That's part of cooperative care and taking our time and meeting him where he's at, right? So now he's done with his water. I'm going to turn this way so you can see a little better. And I'm going to ask him, hey, Hudson, which one? Oh, good boy. This one? Okay. So the way that I indicate that he indicated this one, he went back to it to sniff. Okay, so let me back up. I asked him the first time before the water break, right? He ignored me completely. He went over to the water. He took a second to regroup. When he came back, I asked him which one. He engaged with this significantly, completely ignored the other one. To me, that indicates this is my preference, which I'm glad because this is my favorite today. And so consent, we want to always ask him for what we're going to do. And we can come up with common words with that. What I use is usually, let's get dressed. And get dressed just means we're going to put on your outfit. Let me take off your harness first, okay? We're going to put it on, and is this okay with you? We're giving him, let me get it off for you, buddy, because I think it'll be uncomfortable under your sweater. There you go. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. We're telling him what we're going to do and then waiting for that cooperative consent from him. So consent from a dog looks like engaging with you when you're doing something, you're choosing to do, you're asking them to do something. So he's looking to me. That's all good, right? I am going to just set him up for success and put a little Treato in my hand, something that he can chew on a little bit, like a piece of beef liver. Hang on. And then I'm going to put it through the neck just to help lead him in. Good, very good. And he's super comfortable with me moving it around. He's not moving back. That says to me that he's consenting. So rather than pull it over his head right away, I'm going to give him a little treat, tell him good job for cooperating. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Let him finish chewing. And then I'm going to put it over. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give him a little treat. Let him know that's what I wanted. Yes, very good. Thank you so much for helping. And then I'll break it down in stages again because, you know, sweater, legs, all that stuff. It's a little bit of a process. That's okay. And we want to make it as positive as we can. It's about creating a positive experience for him, a comfortable experience. Good boy, Hud. Good getting dressed. What a good boy. Nice job. Now, what non-consenting would look like is partly the first part that you saw. He walked away, he regrouped, he went and got some water. That's not a clear indication of no. You can reattempt at that point, as you saw that I did. If he had come back and then he turned his head, averted his eyes, curved his body, moved away and got distracted again, either by going to get water or sniffing or seeming really focused on a toy all of a sudden, those are all indicators that I'm not really interested in what you're doing. I'm either uncomfortable or I don't want to do it or I'm unsure, and please give me some space. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the video, the reality is there are times where we have to do things, and it just is what it is, right? Like, we go to the doctor and the dentist and sometimes we don't want to. Same for them. The difference is we have the cognizance, the intelligence, good boy, to understand and reason why it's so important, and so we can work through it a bit, right? Whereas he doesn't have that reasoning. He just knows, hey, I'm doing this thing and this is really uncomfortable and I'm having a hard time with it. And so that's where that cooperative care comes in, the practicing to get him really comfortable with those things that he will experience, whether it's very good kisses, whether it's at the doctor, the vet, or at the groomer, for example. He's a highly groomed breed, right? He needs to be comfortable with paws touched, teeth touched, ears touched, belly touched, etc. We want to make it as comfortable for him as we can. And so the way that we do that is, one, using our knowledge of body language and consent that we just talked about. Good boy, good paw. And then practicing often, right? We wouldn't go to the Super Bowl expecting to win if we had never done practice games or practice sessions. And so we want to do practice. And so it could be something as simple as you just saw. Paw. Yes, good boy, very good paw. And now I'm touching it, I'm manipulating his toes, I'm letting him chew the treat. Very good. Okay, be free. And that's it. It's just creating that positive experience. Now, while you're creating that positive experience, you also want to look for consent. So if hypothetically, let's say that I went back in here and asked him for his paw, good boy, and let's pretend that he wasn't so cooperative and compliant and he turned his head away. That's an indicator I need to back off, and I need to respect that just for a moment, and then reattempt. See if you can get him to do it again. I would say when he says no, try it another 2 or 3 times before deciding, okay, we're pivoting, that's enough of that. You always want to end on a positive note. So hypothetically, right, I ask for his paw, he turns away, says no thank you 3 times. I don't want to end there. I want to end on something positive. So I'm just going to pivot to something super easy that I know he's going to ace, like throwing treats at you, like touch, touch. Oh, good boy. Very good. Hudson, touch, touch. Yes. Oh, he's so good. Okay, be free. Go find. Right there. Go find. Look, you missed it. There you go. Good boy. And then that's it. And that's where I would end it. You always want to end on a positive note. You want to take things slow, and you want to be clear in your communication with him what you're doing as you're doing it. And no, he doesn't speak English, and no, he's not going to get the words necessarily, but he will understand the tone and the energy of what you're saying, and then your follow-up in your behavior and your body language, right? To him, it's going to feel immensely empowering if you go to put a sweater on and he turns his head away and you back right off. To him, he's like, oh my God, I asserted a boundary, and not only did she understand that boundary, she respected it. Think about how powerful that feels as a human, right? When you assert a boundary, like how hard is that to do in the first place? But you assert your boundary and then it's respected. It's understood and it's respected. It's just as empowering and important for them to have that scenario. And unfortunately, it rarely happens for most dogs because, one, they don't have nearly as invested owners as you are. And additionally, humans don't know what they don't know. They don't know what communication signals they're looking for. They're confused by the communication signals. Very often, they interpret submissive behavior or uncomfortable behavior, for example, flipping on their back, submitting, showing their belly, they interpret that as being cute or asking for belly rubs. And there is a time and a place when that's appropriate, and that is what they're asking. But in this context, if I was going to put a sweater on and he all of a sudden threw himself on his back, that's a very different emotion and experience. He just got to treat the little bugger. He's so smart. No, that serves you right. That's fair. And I can't be mad, right? I was the one who didn't zip my pocket. That was on me. So I'll just make sure that I don't give him a ton of treats while we train today. And so think about consent. Think about respecting his boundaries, empowering him, building a sense of confidence and trust within him. It is just as powerful as it is when you do it with a human as it is for him, right? And as a small dog, generally, confidence is a little more challenging for them. But I'll tell you, my friend Hudson, he's very confident, and it's a testament to the work that you and I have done with him. He's a fantastic little friend. Yeah. Sir, are you ready to go? Oh, you ready to go to work? Yes. Thank you for the kiss. Yes. He knows kisses gets him paid pretty well. So he's like, all right, let's go. Come on. Yes, you ready? Oh my gosh. Okay.